Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Behind Her Brand Monday Morning Brew. I hope that you have your coffee or tea or whatever beverage of choice that you want this morning, and I hope that your morning is starting off well. I wanted to share something with you. If you saw the title, it said busy, and this word has been popping up so much lately. When people call me and they'll say, I know you're busy, or you're probably really busy, or I don't want to serve you because you're busy. And if you know me, I don't like the word busy. I don't. But it reminded me of why. And it was such a pivotal lesson in my life that has shaped everything in my life. This one incident, and I want to share it with you briefly, that literally changed how I approach relationships, how I approach time, how I approach everything. So when I was in college, there was a group of us. It was four of us, four girls, and two of them had just like our big brothers, and I was considered the baby. And we all went to school together and everything, and they were always 1 or 2 years ahead of me. So when everyone graduated, I wanted to keep the group together, and so I would plan 2 trips every single year, and it became something that we absolutely loved. The guys came along with us, and we took road trips to in our individual hometowns, and we met the family, hung out, spent a night there for 3 or 4 days, ate good food, laughter, games. It was just fun, and we did that for a couple of years. Well, in that time, as you guys know, when life just starts lifing, my business started to really, really overflow managing speakers. And I got a call from Nick one day. And I remember the call as if it happened yesterday. And he goes, Hey, Sunshine. And that was my nickname in the group. Everybody else called me Sunshine. And he said, I hadn't seen any emails or anything about, the upcoming trip. He goes, We're still having it, aren't we? And I said, No. I said, my business is really taking off. I said, maybe we can postpone this year all the trips so I can really focus on my business and grow it and all that. Because I was really excited. It was new to me. It was fresh. And it was growing so fast, right? And so Nick said, No, I get it. He says, but I just, miss getting a group together because we all lived in different cities and states. Okay. And come together 2 times a year was a huge deal, but it was something we literally loved to do. And I was the planner of it. So I said to him, I said, well, maybe we can do it next year. I said, because right now I just want to focus. Or I'm like, Nick, I'm in the groove. And I was like so excited and everything. He goes, No, I get it. He goes, but Sunshine, I just want to remind you. He said, I hope and pray. He had just accepted his calling to the ministry too. And he was only 26 at the time. And he says, I hope and pray that you never get so busy that you forget to enjoy life's moments. He says, you've always been into business and you've always been that go-getter. He goes, and that's what we love about you. And he says, but we also love how you make sure we all stay connected no matter what. And he goes, and I don't want to lose that. And so I said, no, we will never lose that. We're going to be fine. We're going to be good. And so he left me with a beautiful scripture. And then he said at the end, and it's one of those moments where if I knew then what I know now, gosh, I would have done things differently. But he said, I just want you to know, Belinda and I love you. And we are championing you so much. And he goes, and it would mean the world to me if we can continue to do this. He says, there's something angering about our group. And he says, and he got really quiet. He goes, I don't want to lose that. He said, I just accepted my call in the ministry and things are just kind of hectic. And this group centers me in a way that no other group has. And he says, I hope to hear from you. And I said, you know what? I said, give me 2 weeks, 2 weeks to the date. And I said, I'm going to call and we're going to have all the plans. And I said, I'll figure it out. Because, I from that call. So 2 weeks to the day, I get a call from one of our friends in the group, Mary. And she just was crying. And I was like, what's wrong? And she said, Nick died. And it was such a hard call to get because I was like, well, no, I just talked to him literally 2 weeks ago. And she said he was playing basketball. He had spent a couple hours playing and everything. And they decided to play another 30 minutes. And he went up for a layup and God took him in that moment. They said when he hit the ground, he was when an autopsy report came back, it showed he was perfectly healthy. He had what they call a too healthy heart, which I know that sounds crazy, but my dad actually got that diagnosis many years ago because he's an avid basketball player, almost went pro, all the things. He just basketball was his life. And he started feeling a little bit of chest pain, and the doctor said your heart veins are too healthy. It's unheard of. But Nick died from that. His health was too healthy. And I remember feeling so much guilt because I felt like I was too busy to do something that, in all honesty, I could have planned and did. And he had this huge funeral that was probably one of the best funerals I've ever been to. So much laughter and good stories, and it was standing room only. And I'm thinking, man, he was only 26 to have this type of turnout. When I say hundreds and hundreds of people, it was insane. And Belinda was his wife and our good friend in a group. And she came up to me a couple of weeks later, and we visited, and she said, I wanted you to know Nick loved you so much, and he championed you so much. And she just started sharing all these different things. And she said, but that day y'all had that phone call, he hung up and he says, Belinda, I want to pray over Kim because I don't want the world to suck her up because she's going to give everybody her best and people can use that. And he goes, and I don't want her to get so busy that she misses family and friends and everything. He said, I don't want that for her. So let's cover her now. And I'm going to tell you what changed my life. I didn't know he did that. I did. And many of you guys, if you call me all day, saying, I know you're busy. And I'm like, no, I'm not too busy. What do you need? I can pick up the phone and talk. I have always implemented now the value of being present for the people in my life, period. I don't want anyone to ever feel that I'm too busy. There's times where people will say, hey, do you have a quick second? I always have a couple of minutes. I'm never so busy that I can't pick up the phone and have a conversation, or to pick up the phone just to hear someone's heart or laugh or talk or pray or what have you. I make it such a priority in my life because you just never know when those final moments are. So I share this whole story. I know it's a different kind of Monday Morning Brew, but it's just a reminder to never get so busy that you really miss the moments in people's lives. There are times where you can look up and you realize you haven't talked to someone in so long because you feel like you're so busy, but maybe they've been on your heart, they've been on your mind, and you're like, I'm gonna get to it. You may not have another moment to get to it. I've learned if someone is heavy on my heart, it's either time for me to pray for them, or I just send a quick text that takes nothing but 2 seconds to do and say, hey, how are you? Is everything okay? When I get those messages, there are some people such as, I'm going to call a couple names out. Michelle Goddard, amazing at that. Michelle Brazan, amazing at that. Gabby Smith. If they don't hear from me for a couple of days, or if it's a little too quiet, they're going to check in. And I love that because it makes me feel very seen, loved, and cared for. So think about that. If you find that you haven't had lunch with someone that you've been meaning to have lunch with, if you haven't made that phone call, if you haven't carved out time with even your spouse or your kids even, think about that. If you are filling your life up with so much that you can't be fully present for the people in your life, then consider looking at your schedule and finding ways to not be so, lack of a better word, busy. And I'll close with this. It's easy for us to say cliche statements like life is too short, life is too short, life is too short, right? But it's a different thing in really living that out in totality. Like, I make it a point, and I'm not saying I'm perfect at this, but I try to make it a point to make sure that people never feel my schedule. I may have a back-to-back schedule, but if someone says, hey, do you have a minute? I have a minute in my schedule. If my schedule is so backed up where I can't even take a minute for a call, that's a concern to me, right? And when I look at how I want to show up in the world, and I'm challenging you on this too, when you look at that and examine how are you showing up in the world, do people feel like you're someone that they can come and talk to, that they can come and spend some time with you? Are you someone that is inviting? Are you someone that is very intentional about cultivating relationships? Because we all are, especially the women who follow us. I know each of you, even watching here today, want to make a difference in the lives of others, right? And so if people always feel like you're too unavailable, they're not going to connect with you. They're not going to reach out with you. They're going to make a lot of assumptions that you're so busy that you won't have time for them. And if we are really trying about others, let's not be so busy that we can't talk and connect and be present, have lunch, have coffee, whatever it might be, even virtual coffee, like hop online and say, let's do a virtual chat, whatever it might be. Let's not be too busy where we can't be intentional about the people in our lives or be as present with the people in our lives. So I would love to hear some of your feedback on this. Like, what are ways that you try to infuse intentionality in your relationships? What are things that you have done to make sure that you're not so busy where you miss people in your life? Would love to hear your feedback on this. And as always, thank you so much for joining us for our Monday Morning Brews. And I hope that these are helpful, encouraging, inspiring, or just gives you a different frame of thought around something. I hope at the end of the day. All right. I look forward to talking to you, each of you guys in the comment section. And again, I want to encourage you to invite, share, and stay plugged in. We have some really good things coming up. All right.